but it'll still be good.
Oh,
Because I can't, that's the only thing I've discovered about how to save a long video.
You know what a poncho liner is? They just put them on and they covers your whole body.
Yeah, poncho.
What we used to do is we would tie the hood up, so
Mhm.
you keep it, and we would just hang it between a couple of trees and just
Mm.
lean it and tie it up, and you just kind of wiggle in there just
How
to
many-
keep, just to keep the rain off. Of
How
it.
long were you living this way? You've said that for a while you were, your last 2 months, were you still like wandering the jungle, or were you stationary somewhere? Or did you always, were you never stationary?
They would bring us into a bit fire base,
Okay.
and and we called fire base Baxter, fire base. But anyway, out in the boonies, there'd be a hill, and they would bring artillery in there, and then you'd have people guarding that particular area.
So you'd get a
Well-
few days to be still?
Well, be still and get resupplied and heal up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And
For how many days did you get to
normally,
heal?
as a rule, it would only be for about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But and that was because of most of those guys were getting sick because of some of the food they were eating and stuff like that. So they would call us in to pick us up with choppers and drop us off at this little fire base.
And you also, she talked about the drugs she had to take to not
Yeah,
have
they give-
diarrhea and
you have
stuff all the time.
You have stuff that you take every day for malaria.
Right, so that's not
diarrhea.
good. When you talk about your wellness today, it can't really be good to have taken some of those hardcore
Well, it was
drugs
weird, yeah.
either.
And that's what they're saying right now, that some of the stuff that we took over there could be
Right, you
causing
had the
something like
Agent
cancer.
Orange being dropped, but
Mhm.
you were also taking medications that most
Yeah,
people
and the
don't
Agent
take.
Orange stuff, because they asked me and said, "Did you ever have that weird?" Because it's a weird, Asian Orange is a very weird smell. And so yeah, we saw that all the time. Okay, well, where you at? You had it. You guys had it.
So, but so how long were you stationed in Vietnam?
I was there for 5 days short of a full year.
4 years.
no.
For full year. For a
Oh, a full year.
For a full year.
It's like, oh.
For a full year.
How the hell did you survive that? Okay, so a year.
Yeah, you only had to do a year.
And you could, so this
Mhm.
girl, she re-enlisted in the story that I read.
Mhm.
But there aren't many stories.
Yeah,
about
because they
Vietnam.
tried. See, I was a squad leader, and then when I got out of Vietnam, when I came, that's when they made me a sergeant. And then they tried to talk me into re-upping, and then so then they sent me back to the rear and tested me, and I could have got a full bolt college for free.
Yeah, sure.
At that time, because I tested out. That was back when I was young and smart. Now I'm
Right.
old.
I didn't know you then.
And I said, nope, have no desire. Did not want to go.
I know, who would sign up again?
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
Well, I think
They
that-
would have put me through their college program.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have gotten my degree, but I would have had to, the minimum was an additional 4 years. Well, I had to do 2 automatically. And then they said, but you qualified for OCS. And I said, well, how much is that? And they said, well, that's an additional 6 years. So they
That's
offered Officers Canada, officer. I could have been an officer if I wanted to re-up, but I didn't want to re-up. I said, nope.
Yeah.
Get me the hell out of here, period.
Well, I think what this story also did a good job of depicting is this girl gets embedded at one place, and the one girl really helps her assimilate. And her time is up, and she leaves, and she goes back home. And they communicate, so they kind of explain how she's dealing with not being with them. It's really hard to abruptly be dealing with people whose guts are spilling out. To like, now you're going to just have a job at a hospital. So this main character, she's got more time, and the other girl's time comes up, and she re-ups, and they get put in a more difficult situation. And eventually that girl goes back, and this girl is still there.
Mm.
Then they follow her coming back, and she's now at a hospital, and they make her do all this like bedpan kind of stuff. And she's like, you know, as if she doesn't have any skills. And in Vietnam, they taught her how to close people. Like she was doing surgical.
Oh, you do everything.
She did major surgery stuff because she had to.
Mhm.
And then she comes back to the States, and they're like,
Bed
well, you have to work your way up. So you're in charge of bedpans
Mhm.
and IVs kind of thing. And then that just made her even more crazy because she's like, do you have, like, there's no one to say, do you have any understanding of what
Right.
I went
Okay.
through?
See, when I was a squad leader, that was part of my job because I would take people out for like